we come to the final week of the Giro. Dutchman Tom Dumoulin has a 2-minute and 41-second lead over former Giro winner Nairo Quintana. Behind them are Thibaut Pinot, Vincenzo Nibali, Ilnur Zakarin, and Domenico Pozzovivo, all within 5 minutes. And in Grand Tour racing, where all it takes is one day for things to change, any of these men could end up winning the 100th edition of the Giro D'Italia. But to get there, they'll have to survive one of the toughest final weeks in Giro history, beginning with today's stage from Rivetta to Bormio, with climbs of the Mortirolo, Stelvio, and Umbriel, all iconic, all incredibly demanding on their own, let alone together. This is the Queen stage, the toughest of the Giro. With 90 kilometers to go, the main contenders are grouped together going to Stelvio, having already conquered the Mortirolo, and Dumoulin is in danger. He is already alone, with no teammates to speak of. No one to help control the pace, to cover attacks, to grab bottles from the car. A very bad situation to be in, and everyone is looking at him to see how he's doing. On the descent of the Stelvio, something very bad happens. Something that if you watch this live, you will never forget. By a road sign, Dumoulin hurriedly hops off his bike. At first, the thought is a bike change to solve some sort of mechanical issue, but then the helmet comes off, and then he pulls the maglia rosa off his shoulders. Then the bibs come down, and there, in the beautiful mountains of Italy, on worldwide television, to millions of people, Tom Dumoulin shits. Now, the race comes to a moral quandary for Quintana and Nibali. Do they slow down and wait for the pink jersey, or is the race on regardless? It seems that Quintana votes for the side of waiting, perhaps as a thanks to Dumoulin for making sure he could rejoin the race after the crash the other day, or perhaps not wanting to take pink in a shitty situation. A shark knows no such niceties. Nibali and Visconti push the pace. Every second counts. It's now Dumoulin versus the world. Meanwhile, in another world entirely, Mikel Landa has attacked the breakaway to try and take a stage win. With 23 kilometers to go, it's Nibali, Pozzovivo, Quintana, and Zakarin with a 1-minute and 15-second lead over Dumoulin. For now, they're working together, trying to dig back any time. 20 to go, Sharks hunt alone. Nibali attacks the group of 4, leaving the rest behind. But Quintana can close the gap, and it's now 2. The descent is now beginning, and Nibali is one of the best descenders in history. Fear does not exist to a man bunny hopping over a wet part of the road at high speed going into the corner. Oh, and because of these descending skills, he's caught Mikel Landa, just the 2 now at the front of the race. In the final kilometer, they fly through the last few corners, half to battle each other, and half for Nibali to claw back every second. A final left-hander into the finish, and Nibali wins by a wheel length. His Giro fortunes are beginning to turn around. For Dumoulin, he limited the damage as much as he possibly could, finishing just 2 minutes and 17 seconds behind Nibali, which means, incredibly, he's still leading the overall. But Nibali is now just 1 minute and 12 seconds behind, and Quintana is even closer, just 31 seconds. The crescendo begins to build. Today is tough, yes, but it's a day that most contenders have decided to take off, as evidenced by the 10-minute gap from the breakaway to the peloton with 40 kilometers to go. In fact, the highlight, or lowlight, of their day is Quintana awkwardly riding into a wall a little bit. 17 kilometers left, and the breakaway is huge, even after attacks have flown all around. 8 kilometers to go, and 16 men are still left, including Pierre Rolland, who attacks here. We've talked about him on and off this series, a man who continuously attacks, always battling to win. And today, on what was perhaps a relatively dull stage, for Rolland, it's one he will never, ever forget as he crosses the line in first. The GC remains unchanged. 5 categorized climbs. A mountaintop finish. We're entering the final days. For Quintana, Pinot, and Nibali, this is a day where they need to not just beat Dumoulin, they need to demolish him. They'll have to not only take the overall lead, but start to build a time gap before the final time trial. They have to make their moves early, isolate him, make him respond to everything, which is why, with 53 kilometers still to go, Quintana attacks. It's time to make it happen. Shortly after, Nibali goes, and Dumoulin is isolated, but by the time of reaching the top of this climb, he's back. The early move didn't work, so with 6.5 kilometers to go, it's time to return to the classic method of attacking on the final climb. And as always, Quintana is the first to play his hand, but incredibly, it's FDJ that brings him back to try and keep Pinot in contention, a move that Dumoulin should be grateful for. Meanwhile, at the front of the race are two riders, the remnants of today's breakaway. It's Mikel Landa and TJ Van Garderen, two men who are incredibly similar. Both of them have been tipped for GC success for years. TJ for longer just due to his earlier Tour de France results, but neither have managed to ascend to that top level. Landa has won a stage of the Giro before, 2 years ago, and Van Garderen has never won a Grand Tour stage. Both of them came to Italy in hopes of much more than they've gotten so far, but this is a chance at redemption. They only have a minute over the contenders, and that time is starting to slip, especially since Nibali is now attacking, forcing Dumoulin to come after him, but he's caught. Sometimes though, the best defense is a better offense. The best way to ride your tempo is to get rid of everyone else. So Dumoulin attacks with 4.6 left on the road. Well, at least for a moment. A cheeky move, a flex, a fake punch, and 4.3k to go, he does it again. For real this time. Only Quintana can respond for now. Eventually, they're all back together on level pegging. A Grand Tour where so many are on the same form, something we have been waiting and begging for. 2.3. Zakharine takes an opportunity to move. The rest watch. 2.2. The rest follow. Except for Nibali, who wants Dumoulin to chase, who wants Quintana to chase, and now the top three of the Giro are all just watching each other. This is the race. This is the fight. But another duel must first be settled. Landa and Van Garderen are flying down a brick road to the metaphorical Emerald City, and the physical finish of stage 18. 200 meters to go. Landa in front. TJ dives into the final corner, forcing a gap to keep his momentum, and by God, it does the trick, as he wins the sprint, and American fans everywhere cry out in victory. Behind, finishing in third, is Pinot, and he's retrieved time back over Nibali, Quintana, and Dumoulin, adding a fourth contender to the fray. Tensions are high. 3 stages left. Just 2 minutes separate the top 6. Another mountain finish, but this time it's much steeper. This should suit Quintana's style perfectly, and could be the day that Dumoulin has feared most. Time and tarmac is running out. 10 kilometers to go. Dumoulin is not looking good. He's at the back of the main group already. There are, for once, teammates around him, but there is a long way to go, and his lead is at risk. Every time they go around a bend, the gap begins to open more. Meanwhile, at the very front, over 9 minutes ahead, Rui Costa is solo, hunting a stage win. Just 21 seconds behind is a group of 4. There's Sergio Henao, teammate of Mikel Landa, who, in the blue jersey of the King Mountains, is here, yet again, chasing stage victory. Luis Leon Sanchez is here as well, another name that continues to appear. And Pierre Rolland, who has won a stage, but winning a second never hurt anyone. Mikel Landa attacks and easily begins to close the gap to Costa, the GC group now, and Dumoulin is hanging onto the back of the pack, and he must stay here as long as he possibly can. 9.8 left. Landa attacks again, leaving Costa behind, and now all that stands between him and victory is a whole lot more elevation. In the main group, Movistar and Bahrain work on the front, every pedal stroke putting Dumoulin into a little more difficulty. This could, in the blink of an eye, mean Quintana, Nibali, or Pinot end up in pink tonight, with just 2 days left. It's 8.2 kilometers when the rubber band snaps, when the gap truly opens. At 5.9 kilometers to go, the gap's up to 20 seconds. Dumoulin, for now, is still virtually in the lead, but barely. Fate and odds dictates that at some point, that will flip, and Quintana will be, on the road at least, the leader of the overall classification. How bad will the damage be? Meanwhile, Landa is having a nice, relatively stress-free tempo effort. 4.2 left, and Thibaut Pinot makes himself known, attacking. The Frenchman could easily win today and take pink. And then, at 3.5 kilometers to go, commentary says what we've been waiting to hear.
Backing finale we're going to have for you. There's 33 seconds, and now Nairo Quintana is the virtual Maglia Rosa on the road.
2.5. Zakharin moves. A podium in Milan is calling out to young Russian, and all he needs to do is fight for it. Pozzovivo and Nibali follow, but Quintana can't. He tries desperately to get on the wheels, and he does. But this is a moment of weakness that didn't go unnoticed. Unbothered by the drama behind, Mikel Landa finally tastes success with the stage win that eluded him yesterday, but stage 19 is all his. The clock starts counting back. When it stops, it confirms what we knew. Nairo Quintana is a new leader of the Giro D'Italia, finally back in pink. The lead over Dumoulin is 38 seconds. Not enough to feel secure with a time trial on the final day, but enough to know he can get more time tomorrow. Nibali is just 43 seconds behind in third. Pinot in fourth, down 53 seconds. Fifth, Zakharin, 121. Sixth, Pozzovivo, 130. Everything is still up for grabs. 190 kilometers on the docket. Just 2 climbs, though they are both Category 1. The last chance to win time on a mountain. The last time we're having teammates matters. Zakharin takes this to heart. 76 kilometers to go. The first Category 1 of the day, up the Mont Grappa, and his teammate is setting a devastating pace early, trying to make this as hard as possible early on. Already at the back of the group is Dumoulin. Legions of Dutch fans yell out. He cannot, he must not crack this early. There are so many kilometers left to go, and yes, he's still the best time trialist in the contenders, but at this rate, will there be anything left in the tank for tomorrow? But he's still there, hanging on the back wheel of Bob Jungels, and makes it over Grappa. 23 kilometers to go. The final climb of the Giro. The last opportunity for many. Nibali goes. He has to. He needs time over Quintana. Winner Anaconda, the Movistar teammate of Quintana, closes the gap, and everyone follows. But Dumoulin is struggling again. Every time the race slows down, he can get back. But at a certain point, he has to run out of bullets. 21.8 to go. Zakharin and Pozzovivo attack. Everyone is doing whatever they can to try and split up the race to get a gap. But all of these men are bringing out 120% of their potential. This time, the attack has actually made a gap, one that forces Quintana to chase, and Nibali to follow. Then Nibali passes Quintana and takes charge. It is all happening. Pinot behind is having to pull solo, and he gets up to the Quintana group, and incredibly, Dumoulin is just behind, limiting his losses to an incredible degree. As they get to the final few hundred meters, it's Quintana, Pinot, Pozzovivo, Zakharin, and Nibali all coming to the line, sprinting for the win. The day belongs, wonderfully, to Pinot. The clock counts again. There is just 1 minute in time between the top 4. The Giro D'Italia is about to see its greatest finish in 100 years. All that remains is 29.3 kilometers. The finale. A time trial from the Monza racetrack to the very heart of Milan. 3 weeks of racing, thousands of kilometers full of surprises, heartbreaks, heroes, villains, and just flat out perfect cycling have led us here. For narrative purposes, we can just acknowledge the person who won the stage today, who everyone forgets due to the GC race. And that man is Jos van Emden, who averaged over 53 kilometers an hour pace. Now, the drama. Dumoulin starts first out of the top 4, the Dutch national champion. He knows, as we all know, that if he has his legs under him today, the Giro is his. But people have crashed in moments like this. A tire has gone flat. Anything can happen. French national champion Pinot is next. He needs to stay on this podium. And sure, he's not as fast as Dumoulin, but maybe he's faster than Quintana. Nibali, currently second overall, then leaves the start house. Then it's Nairo, all in pink. It's a deja vu moment from the other time trial this year. Once again, he's in the overall lead with a tiny time gap, and he has to do everything to fight off Dumoulin. Will the higher pressure of today make him or break him? The first time check. Dumoulin is in second overall. It took him 10 minutes and 1 second to get here. Now, we wait for the others. Pinot comes through, 10:27. Already, he's lost 21 seconds to Dumoulin, who is on an absolute stampede. Next is Nibali, and 17 seconds have evaporated. All eyes are on Quintana. He has already lost 31 seconds. All that separates Nairo and Tom are 8 seconds. We just sit and wait for the update. It comes. Dumoulin has virtually won the Giro. He crosses the line, the Dutchman, just a few minutes away from being the winner. We watch as Quintana approaches the line. The clock runs out. Tom Dumoulin celebrates. After 100 years, the Dutch have finally won the Giro D'Italia, and Dumoulin has proven, without a doubt, he is a Grand Tour winner and contender to be reckoned with for the next few years. The gold confetti flies in Milan, as much a celebration for Tom as it is for all of us. A reward, in a way, for getting to see the greatest Giro in the modern era unfold before our very eyes.